Okay, here we are. We are just waiting for the outpouring of the MINISTRAVAGANZA from Atomic Mass Games. I've watched the first couple ones, the Marvel one and the introduction. The quality's okay, but we are hoping to see the amazing outpouring that they're going to do here, and we're going to see some new stuff from Star Wars. That's the hope, the goal, the dream here is that we can see something that's going to give us something to look forward. And so we're going to come live with it as soon as it comes live. It looks like it's about 10 minutes away or 7 minutes away from being live, and so we're just going to do that. And so if there is something that you're looking for, the question is, what do you want? Do you want sub factions? Do you want some sub factions? You know, there's the question. Do you want some sub-factions or not? Do you want to be able to have those sub-factions? Or would you like a whole new scum and villainy thing? I know that a lot of us are thinking that maybe we'll get a scum and villainy because of the kind of the hunter idea and the different things that they said so far. So I'm all for that as well, a scum and villainy. Another faction would be great. I think we could accomplish a lot more maybe with sub-factions. With actual cores and different things and people that can work, but I'm okay with either, as long as they don't go halfway. Like the whole thing they did so far with the Wookiees, not really a full subs faction. You can't run completely Wookiees core. Like if you just a couple Wookiee cores and there you go, you got a full sub faction, and then make them be able to be kind of, you could do them with the rebels too. That'd be cool. But who knows? See where they go. I am all for a sub faction system, and I would be completely open to seeing sub factions, and that's the truth. But I would also be completely open with a new scum and villainy faction. I'm not going to deny that. I would enjoy that as well. But we maybe won't get the both. I'm going to be switching here over now. We've got them coming in here, and we'll get rid of that AMG thing. Let them see. There we go. We have no audio from them yet, but there was them for a second, and obviously didn't have everything worked out. Yeah, a squad a day keeps the doctor away. Yeah, okay. We've got a few other people. I'm trying to keep in with the Twitch feeds chat too. So if I'm looking away, trying to figure that out, we're trying to figure that out. Crabak said, "Glad nobody was nude when the cameras came on and they weren't ready," and so that's always funny there. But the reality is, this is one of those things that I talk about with Atomic Mass Games. It's the professionalism that sometimes you just miss out on. They need somebody to bring their media stuff up to the notch. And like, it's okay reality when somebody like me messes up or does something. I do it all the time because I'm not paid to do this. I'm just doing this because I like talking about Star Wars Legion. I like Star Wars. I like gaming, and so that's why I do this. And I don't even have that many people watching ever, but I'm trying to build a community. So because what it does for building community for me helps me to want to do it more, but it also helps the channel grow and help other people see it, and I like to chat and talk with people, and so that's why I've got the Discord, and even like in the video games, I like to play games with other people. So when I get on there and play games with. It's there because I want to play games with the public and different people and all over the place. And so always on every stream, Coke Zero. This one's from McDonald's. I'm not sponsored by McDonald's, but I'm not sponsored by anybody. But we are so close to 300, and when we get 300 subscribers, if you've commented and you've subscribed, if you commented or liked on any of the videos that I created around the 300 mark, I'm going to be sending out you some prizes. And so I've got some 3D printed things that I've got made up that I will be sending out, and I will be doing a couple more videos on 3D printing and some painting stuff coming up, just talking about my stuff. You can see my 3D printed Mandalorian helmet on the back that I did for my son's Halloween costume last year. And so I just enjoy 3D printing. This is just kind of me sitting and chatting about things I like to talk about. And so Wilco Fan 99, Temple Jedi scream Underworld to me. Not really. Yeah, I'd like to take. Yeah, there might be a thing of too much Jedis. The reality is there is. Can be a little much when it comes to Jedi sometimes. Like, I think it's got a nice niche there when we're talking about Jedis. I'm not sure how I feel about just a generic Jedi. But maybe a generic Jedi built in with a Force ability, so it's not like something else. Well, we got it going. Star Wars Legion, here we go. This is what we've all been waiting for. Oh, that's definitely Crime Syndicate. I think we got a new faction. Yep. Look at that. That's cool. With Mandalore, that's cool. Like Darth Maul, that's cool. It's pretty good. New threat emerged from the shadows. That's pretty cool. That looks like a new faction, 5th faction. And they have no sound. This is exactly what we're talking about again.
We're going to be painting them up. I've already got the rest of the unit painted. I'll be showing those, and so I'm going to match
Wow, look at that.
this fella up to that so we can play some games with them. So let's go ahead and turn on light, switch it over to the mini cam, and let's get started. Oh, there's no sound. I'm muted. Oh, we got sound? We got sound now. So they just missed all my card reveals there.
Yeah.
I just spoiled everything. I'm looking at our producer over there, Kevin, and he's giving me the bad eye. Okay, so we just saw an awesome trailer for some new Star Wars Legion miniatures. We're going to be painting up something you saw from the trailer, the Pike Syndicate unit leader.
I kind of like Pike. Pike is kind of cool.
And I got some Pikes painted up, so I got to match him. So we're going to be showing this off. We'll be going over the recipe, and let's get this started. Chat's blowing up.
Really good.
We fixed the sound. We started over, and we're ready to rock and roll. We're ready to party down. So I'm going to grab a couple brushes. Kick it over to minicam there, Kev. Perfection. So here's our lovely little Pike Syndicate unit leader.
That's a nice looking model.
And we have this fella.
Yeah. What is that guy? If the other guy's the unit leader, what is that guy?
So I painted this up recently.
Because like
left the unit leader for last. We're just going to match him up. So we're going to go over how I got this.
I just know what this other guy is over there.
These nice blacks and stuff like that. So let's get those off and get going. So I got some greens.
So Zenith highlighting there, which is good.
Palette. Let me see if I can actually get a shot of this. Tell me when I'm in shot. There we go.
Yeah, out of
So
focus, but it's in there.
We got some browns, we got some reds, just on a wet palette. Just a little bit of everything. And we're going to use these to create our skin tone on our fella. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I did a Zenith Prime. That's a black primer with a white over top, leaving some of the white showing. And what I want to do is I want to kind of glaze over all the skin areas with a nice green. You can choose whatever green you want, whatever you feel is appropriate. I picked something that's a little, you know, sort of like a swampy pea green. You know, if you go to the farmer's market and get some nice fresh peas, this is like the color of that. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a tiny dot of paint, putting it down the shadow area. I'm using a second brush that's a little damp. And I'm drawing it out over top of that Zenith Prime to create a sort of transition. You can see that there where the black primer was, the white primer is. Oh, it looks like BK just confirmed that you'll be seeing Pike in action. That's why I'm painting this. I gotta get ready for the big game.
So they're going to see Pike in the game tomorrow. That's interesting. But the reality is,
I want to leave under here.
Yeah,
where it's really shadowy. It doesn't matter how much coverage I get. I'm just going to throw some darker shadows on that. So multiple layers of paint. You don't have to always do multiple layers of your base coat. If you're going to go into a couple shadow colors, those will give you the coverage you need as well. Did everybody enjoy the trailer? I did. So many cool things I need to paint in that trailer.
yeah, I'm not sure if I've been reading the thing, and some of the people said it's awesome. I don't know how I'd say awesome quite yet, but they are pretty cool. Like, we'll see if it's its own faction. That would make a difference. Like, if this is a whole new faction, this is that'll be really cool. But the reality is, if it's just like a hired gun that you hire into units, I'm not so much cool. Even if it was a sub faction that could be used with other factions, but you have to take a core. There's so many different uses that it could be cool.
The trailer will be posted later. Yes,
yeah,
the trailer will be posted up later.
Yeah, I don't know why he's telling you what they've already said in the chat, but
I'm going to use this bill as reference because I don't have art reference in front of me, so I'm going to use to make sure that I use art reference more to kind of help me remember where all my elements are. Just keep going over all the skin areas with the green of your choice. Just cover over it. Just like so. Can't see that side. It's just an elbow, nothing fancy there.
yeah, that's true. There's going to be some more Mandos. That's the big thing. The really big thing is you're going to see a ton of Mandalorians, because they showed in the trailer some of the mall Mandos. So this is going to give an option for everybody who has to have Mandalorians. So it's kind of cool.
Just let 'em be. Now, next thing we want to do we'll take a little
Yeah,
I'm
I'm satisfied with the
See here?
seeing what I've seen, but the reality is, yeah, I just hope they do it right. And this is the last of Luke Eddy stuff, so this will be the last that we know will be kind of play tested well, and from here we'll see how it goes. We're not sure if it's going to be the good quality of stuff again, you know.
Nice peaty pea green. Just bring that up. And this will act as that first shadow. Can we move the audio mixer on the screen that's blocking the chat? In case there's any questions about any paint.
Okay. I'm looking for this. They Kraback asked if they're core. Let's see if they give us any information.
We're just gonna shade the fingers and the arms. It's interesting. I was looking at the concept art. They got little metal toes, like little armor plates on your toes. Yeah, Cupcake Hunter. First off, great name. We got cupcakes in the office for MINISTRAVAGANZA. So that's exciting. Cupcake Hunter says these memes are so good. I agree. These little Pike Syndicate guys, seeing them in Clone Wars, I was like, whoa, these guys are really super cool and such a unique and fun take on alien design.
Okay, so
Seeing
there's
them
an
come to
answer
life
here
adventure,
that
they're really
new
cool
mercenaries that can be added to certain existing
and having
factions
painted up
or
almost
band
the whole
together
unit
for their
already,
own
I can
fighting
tell you,
force. So
they're
they
a lot of fun to
They're
paint.
technically a sub-faction then.
Everything is
with,
nice and defined.
Some mercenary ability.
I
This used to be
believe our
done
boy Corey engineered these.
the early days of
They
Warcraft.
go together really
Warhammer.
well.
And so
everything
you
is
can
nice
hire
and
some
sharp,
guys
so
for a little extra cost.
fun little miniatures.
And
to
so
paint up.
this would be interesting how
So
they're
I'm
going to do
super
this.
excited.
And so I think it's kind of a interesting way of looking at this, with the them being able to be added to certain factions. Me being a rebel, I don't see the Pikes being able to add it, or Maul and his guys. So this is kind of something.
They come on a
We'll see how they
sprue.
work in with the
They are hard
factions I play.
plastic. They come on frames. Sundancer. They are hard plastic. So now I'm going with a darker green. So you can see that this is a darker green. Whoops, that was very light, very thin. Darker green. The sprue, actually, if you want to get technical, the frame is what miniatures come on, hard plastic miniatures. The sprue is the gates. It's actually not part you actually receive. Sprue has become shorthand in the wargame community, but you actually receive frames. Fun fact. So I'm just darkening up those dark areas.
So this is kind of interesting. We'll see how it plays out. I'm really looking forward to the rules
Yeah,
on these.
you have to wait to see what the developers play with tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the real thing, is finding out how they play with them and how they fit into the world of Legion. As we sit here right now, it's cool models, and I love cool
Got
models.
beautiful new miniatures. Let's go over how to paint them up.
But the reality is just having
I
a
could
cool
see some
model
fun alternate color schemes for these too.
is not good enough. It's got to be playable too, because this
I
is
kind of
a
went
game
more
first and
black
foremost than just
armor
look at
on
models.
mine
If I
than
was just collecting
the
cool models, I'd be buying
studio ones.
you know, the stuff that they make toys and stuff, and they sit on my shelves and do stuff. But
This is not a yellow. This is more of a. It's a very minty or pea green.
he said pea green for 3 of the colors so far.
Yeah, there's several. I got a couple in here with me. How did I make the base? You should join in later. We're going to do a basing stream, and I'm going to go over how to make bases. So I'm going to take some burnt umber. I'm going to mix it into dark green. I'm going to make an even darker color. And that's going to be our darkest shade. I'm going to put in like the little wrinkles of his neck folds.
Yeah, you're going to see these things being able to be used with
Right around his
and
little
you're probably going to be able to see
face
them
noodles.
being used for CS, maybe. I can't see them being used in Rebels or the Grand Army.
I would love to
So
see
we'll
the pike done in like a synth wave style. I think they would look really great in like the magentas and teals. They just have that feel to them. Like, you know, these guys are dealing in spice and illicit product, so they should definitely be dressed and decorated like Crockett and Tubbs is going to show up and shake them down. That's what I see. I think some more red version of their skin would be really cool, or maybe more blue like a Duros. Could be cool looking. I think the possibilities are endless, and especially on these miniatures, they're just so flavorful. They're full of character. You could really have just a lot of fun painting these up. All right. The last thing I'm going to do on the head, we are going to do the little strippy stripes on this guy, but first we need to highlight his noggin. So I'm going to add a little off-white. I'll show you some off-white. A little dot of off-white. I'll show you the palette. I gotta look up at that screen. There's black, white, off-white. There's a rainy gray. There's a silver, and then right there, my greens, a gray, and a red. That's like a brown red.
Yeah, I just can't wait to see
That is my current palette, and I'm just kind of mixing things together.
It's really interesting though. This is a direction that I kind of saw them going, but I saw it as a whole new faction, and
free
this
and
is kind
confident
of
when you're
allowing
painting
you to
to
maybe,
kind of
from what they're talking about in the chat,
mix stuff up.
The actual people who are
even in
running this,
studio, I'm very much
they are
a
talking
close
about
enough is good
being
enough.
mercenaries, and then they can band together.
You can
in one
match
faction
very
so
easily.
it looks like you can use them in 2 different ways, which is kind of nice to be able to have that playability.
By
to
just
be able to do
taking
things
little,
in different ways, and it gives you more
being
options.
similar
for
with the
future.
colors
So
and the
I think
tones.
that's there's some good things there. I just can't wait to see what
And you can learn
it
how
actually
to
looks like
really
in a game and see how
get
things.
close enough.
As far as that, I'm not a huge
Highlight
Pike
these face
fan,
noodles.
but I think they're cool models, and I think it's a good.
Off-white.
I'm
mixed
enjoying.
with the base color
I'll be
green.
buying them because I buy everything, but
I'm gonna put
the
a
reality
couple
is
little
the models look really cool.
highlight lines. I'm just gonna look at where the wrinkles are.
That's the big thing for me.
And on this, I want the highlights to
So-
kind of go down because the stripes on their heads go horizontal. So these highlights going the opposite way will give a nice contrast. always highlight fingertips and knuckles, or light catches a lot. And then, as you can see, I kind of went back on their heads a little bit, so this is going the same direction, but it's on the very top of their heads. A little more green in this side. This side's a little more shadowed, so I want to just bring down the highlight color. A lot of times you learn how to paint and this is the highlight color and goes all the way around the miniature. Since this side's darker, I don't want the highlight to be the same value. I want to bring the value down, so add a little bit more of the green back into that off-white to offset. It makes the overall miniature feel more dynamic when you're looking at it. And then leave that really bright highlight as like little dots right on the ends of the wrinkles. Little face wrinkles. Alright. Now we're going to take our shade color. Remember, that's the green and some burnt umber. Now we'll mix a little touch of gray in it. And gray is a desaturator color. I gotta move
the big
this
question is,
fella.
how is our command cards going to work with these sub-factions and different things that they work in, and you have a couple commanders. It's I think it's just interesting.
I'm gonna pick kind of look at what I did on this guy.
I think it's going to
Imagine how this is going to translate here.
a whole new realm of things. This
I'm
is
gonna take my brush, make sure the paint's
kind of
nice and
exciting.
loose.
I think this is something. This is I kind of lost for words, and that's not something that I do very often. But I'm lost for words at
Draw
exactly
out.
how this is going to be, because there's still a lot of vague here, trying to figure out what they're going to look like in the world of
Lines.
Legion. But I really find this. As
Now, the
interesting
fun thing
way of
about
doing things.
painting
I'm excited.
aliens and just
And yeah, more aliens is good too.
creatures in general is they don't any sort of marking like this, they're a lot of fun, but you don't have to make them perfect. Life is not perfect, so you can let it sort of be weird and not quite a shape. Maybe this one didn't, maybe that one didn't grow in the right pattern. Who knows? That's what makes him unique. And come over the side and make sure they feel close enough. Once again, close enough is good enough. And that's the skin. All right, let's do some black. So I'm just going to take some black, put it on my palette. I have a regular well palette. I'm just going to put some black over here. A little bit of art medium. Mix that together. Make a little wash. We're going to go over all the areas that are going to be black. And the Zenith Prime will help speed this process up, right? What that does is, as I paint over the black, or over the zenith of the black with a wash, some of that white and black pre-shade and highlight shine through, and it allows me sort of like some dynamic and good basis to work my highlights and shadows on.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got to creep up with that. What's going on in the chat? So
I
I
did
was paused
the
there for
whole
talking.
forearm and gloves in black.
So they're just talking
So I
about
think
whether
the
this is
studio
an
models are a little
FAG's
different. I went with
final
more black.
product, or if Atomic
Really
Mass
wanted to
Games
feel
new product. And it's
like
been
my
FAG's
Pike
final product,
Enforcers
and so
were
this is
just
the last of what
more
Luke Eddy and them worked on. So
I don't
this
know,
is kind of
aggressive.
they are great looking
We're
figures.
definitely kind of the baddies. I think I did this collar black. I should be looking at my reference. I'm not. I think reference is one of those tools that a lot of novice painters kind of ignore. And something very important to the creative process. When we're sculpting or concepting, reference, even if you're concepting something brand new, never seen, there's always a analog or something you can reference. And so I'm very much, you should always be using reference. I'm just using my miniatures. He's over there. I pulled him off the side there to get my brush around him. But it's a good habit to get into, picking out references and going with it. So like if you're picking, say you didn't want to go with this greeny skin tone, right? You could look at Google deep sea creatures. Now this is going to take you on a fun journey. Google deep sea creatures and have fun looking at all the creatures that exist in the deep sea, and there might be a color palette that inspires you and would make a good and interesting version of your Pike Syndicate or anybody else, or your Chewbacca's. Who knows? I totally just used Chewbacca's as a catch-all phrase for Wookiees, and I apologize. So some of these plates I'm hitting with my brush are not going to actually be black, but it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, they say they're going to release the unit card tomorrow during the
Go right around his little shirt collar.
play tomorrow, so that'll be interesting to watch. It's just kind
I have an undershirt.
just sitting here with this watching. I'm okay with the watching. I will be looking at the chat, trying to get information out to you too as well. If you're not watching on
Okay, I'm going to let that wash dry. You have to be nice to BK, that's for sure. BK giveth, BK taketh. So we're going to use my brown color. It's like a very red brown. This can be any red brown, or maybe you wanted yellow. I just picked this nice contrasty. It goes very well against that skin. It brings some warmth into the miniature. Skin is very cool,
So they're gonna
very
be
kind of
playing tomorrow
swampy.
with these things. You might get to see cards and stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting. There's a lot of great people on this
So I
chat.
wanted to bring some of that warmth in.
So some of them
So I
I know,
guess
some
it
of them
was
I
like
don't. Some I just
brown,
know
red.
the names. But the reality is, you know what
I'm
I'm
gonna
surprised
use
by is
that.
there's less people on this.
Just to
than there was
define
in
a
the Marvel
couple
stuff.
areas.
So the Marvel Protocol actually had more people.
And if
There
you
was
make a mess, that's
1,100, but on the Star Wars there's less. I don't know if
You
that's
get paint the
indicative
wrong
of
place.
something or it's just
Painting
what we're
miniatures is
seeing
a
here.
fine art
And
of
so-
correcting one's mistakes. It's definitely plural.
I hate the sound of him swishing his water.
So everything is drying. I'm going to take a little bit of red ink. Now, if you haven't used ink, ink is such a wonderful tool to add to your arsenal.
Yeah,
There's
ink
all
is-
sorts
ink
of
is a good
artist
tool,
inks and
but-
stuff like that.
But it can be hard to
Ink
use
is a very
sometimes.
thin paint.
So
It's super fluid and wet.
it doesn't dry quickly.
Ink
either.
has a lot of pigment though, so that means it's a highly pigmented paint. So it's very thin. It's got a ton of pigment. And what I'm going to be able to do here is see how they're little face noodles? I'm just going to keep calling them that because it's adorable. There's a little bit of red. So what I did is I took a little bit of red ink and the tiniest touch of the green from the skin tone. and I'm going to paint that on.
Almost looks orange.
And see how very thin it is?
But yeah.
And I'm going to use my second brush. See, that's too thick. So I'm going to use that second brush to kind of pull and absorb. And this is just going to tint those little face noodles to
It's nice
warm.
to be able to watch somebody paint.
This is
and
how
see
you
the
paint
different
a
ways
lot
they
of
paint them.
translucent stuff.
Because the reality is, we all can learn.
And we'll be
anytime
going
we watch
over
something.
some
Like,
more
I'm not
inks
a
later in the
professional
weekend.
painter at all. I just
Definitely
paint
on
the
a
table
couple
standard, but I like learning and being able to put some of these things into
my
practice. I like
streams.
to be able to show what I've learned.
I'll be using
in
inks
the
to punch up
things.
some magic.
We just
I don't know, Schick on one of his was asking me about some
my biggest
inks,
thing with all this stuff coming out is
making sure I had them with
I
me.
just
so
got
he
up
can
all my
use
painting. I have no more painting, and so I'm
Just
gonna be
creates a
hammered
nice
with lots of things to paint
translucent
again once they start coming.
paint.
It'll be a ways
so you
of
can
painting.
kind of see that base color through
I
it.
still haven't got Yoda yet.
And it gives
It's
that
been
warm skin
ordered them when he first
feel
came
to
out,
it.
but I haven't received them yet. So
Let's do
some
silver.
of the things about
Grab a little silver.
where I live is
Our
hard to
black
get
is
to minis
drying.
quickly.
I'm going to add a little touch of black to that silver.
So,
I feel like that's too... There we go. The silver is too bright. So a little touch of silver. A little touch of
So
black.
just
We're going to paint
like,
these little armor
subscribe,
plates.
guys. Keep us going. A comment here. We will chat here. I'm also keeping track of the chat on the Twitch stream as well, and keeping you.
I love mixing colors into my
politely.
metals. You can mix. I was painting something last night, and I mixed some blue into the metals. Actually, I used a blue ink. It can give your metals more life and visual interest. So by mixing colors into the metals, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the models do look great.
This I'm keeping pretty generic.
Very good. This is. I'm really
By
happy to
generic, I
see
just mean
the Pike Syndicate
a
in
nice
this
silver.
in some way. I just wonder. As I said, I'm just not sure how they're going to
No
play
real
into the
colors. Maybe
game.
we'll throw some
But
colors
I
in.
trust that this is going to be good, and this is, as I said, the last wave of Luke.
I
Eddie,
forgot my
so-
yellow ink in the other room.
So Luke,
I didn't think about it because I didn't think I was going to use it, but now I'm like seeing this strip right
Eddie's,
here.
thing,
And I'm
so
like,
he's
oh,
gonna
that
do
could have
that.
been gold.
So we'll see how it goes.
And you can use inks to change silver metal into golds very easily. It's a nice trick.
I really look forward to seeing how this plays into the game. And so I've come up with that a couple times. I know if you're just tuning in or you're just
We're just gonna
watching,
paint everything with
that's
silver
what
real
I've said
quick.
a few times. And reality
Man,
is
I'm doing
this is
great
what-
on time.
This is just exciting for us to be able to have new
I'm gonna
models.
finish this
See,
miniature in
I
an
see
hour.
people complaining and they're talking about
I might even run out of stuff.
you know, being
How did I do
upset
the
that there
skirt?
wasn't
That's brown
something
too.
more
I did
like,
miss that.
big or whatever. This is pretty huge, but it's everybody wants what they see from the movies, and I think it's good that they branch into all of Star Wars, and we get to see everything. Like this is a cool thing to see. This just means that we're
I
going to see
love
if
all
they're
the
doing pikes.
speculation going on right
Think of
now.
all the other things they're going to do, right? So like that's just the
Kevin,
kind
are you
of thing.
watching that too?
So
He is. That's the fun of teases. All the fun speculation. Until it gets into like conspiracy theory territory. That's weird. Alright. Silver is applied. Don't forget their little toes. They got little silver toes. Which I don't think I'll
so
ever
it's
get
gonna
enough of.
be rules.
K7
Coming.
kicker
That's one of the
sculpts
questions,
are
is
great.
talking
Yeah, I
about
agree. These
rules.
sculpts
Are there
are
going to be
uh,
rules
awesome. They've been a ton of fun to paint. So we need to add brown to the areas we missed. This frames up very nicely. Oh, someone asked earlier what size brushes I use. I typically use 2s and 3s. I don't know what. That's what I typically use. Is a 2 and a 3. What I like is I don't like super tiny brushes because they don't have enough belly. That's the belly. That's the tip. The belly is what holds the paint and keeps it wet and loose. So I like a nice belly on the paintbrush.
Probably should be looking into different paintbrushes. That's a good
To
suggestion.
keep the paint
I use a lot
nice
of
and
cheap
loose. There's
paintbrushes,
nothing worse than lining
try
up
and get
the
some
shot, so to say, with your
2 or 3.
paintbrush and then going in.
That straight
and the
hair
paint's
driving me
just
crazy
dry.
on that brush, but that's okay.
So a big belly on the paintbrush kind of helps with that. Let's draw a dark line around the mask.
I'm going to just quickly mute here. I think I got a call.
I did say dark line. If you've been paint miniatures for a while, there's a phrase called black lining. I typically add a color to the black before I line, so I call it dark lining. I'll typically go just black. Alright, we can take black as well. And paint it over the gun, the blaster.
This is very interesting. I'm really liking this. And we can watch this video together.
Star Wars guns always, Star Wars blasters always have that like non-metallic feel. So I don't like the blasters to have metal in them. The references always feel like they're some sort of composite or some sort of other material. So I typically do Star Wars blasters in a non-metallic way. So I'll lay down a layer of black and then we'll do some grays over top of that black to create a nice effect on them.
Yeah, and so I just checking up on the chat. Everything seems to be pushed back. The Yoda, I was talking about on my Yoda yet.
All right.
Been pushed back. Everything's been pushed back. It sounds like they're hitting delays again, so that's okay. We'll get the stuff when we get it, and then I'll have something to paint. You know.
Let's take some burnt umber. And we're going to use that to shade our warm browns. Just a little bit. Treat it almost like a wash. Just let it slide into those recesses. Different than a glaze. In case anybody wants to know the difference between a wash and a glaze.
More pigment.
Maybe terms you've heard and no one's ever defined for you.
Yeah. Well, this is coming in
Alright.
pretty soon. I'm gonna be shining out with it, and
This guy
I'm
is
just glad we can
looking
watch it together and be a
super
part of it.
cool.
There's
Let's take a little bit of off-white
No complaints on this.
Already brown.
I like the fact that we are doing something different here.
So a few highlights here and there.
They are doing pretty cool wave. I think all the stuff in the video, I would like to look back and watch it again, and just see all the stuff they announced there, because there's stuff that.
What is the difference? Oh, see, Sarah. See, that's what I'm getting at. Washes and glazes. It's always something people hear and not always is defined for them. So we're going to go over it. A wash is any paint that is thin enough. Well, what I like to say is washes and glazes, they are not things, they are techniques. So a wash, the goal is you take a paint and you thin it down like so with some water. You can also use art medium. And the goal of a wash is to go over an area and set into the recesses and pull off the raised details. A glaze, think of a glaze like a filter. So if you were to go get your photo taken at the portrait studio, and the photographer needs a little more, say, blue on you, or a little more red, they put that little filter over top of the light, and it changes the color of everything. So that's what a glaze is. A glaze would be a very, very thin paint that evenly, it doesn't just wash into the recesses. It evenly goes over an entire surface or element to purposely change the color or the hue, I guess, or the tone. So a glaze is very, very thin, goes over top of something to slightly change the color. And a wash goes over stuff to get in the recesses to create contrast. Does that make sense?
It does. You did a good job explaining a wash and glaze.
Made sense to me, but that doesn't really make sense to you. Oh, what is the miniature on? I get asked this a lot. So this is just a primer lid, and this is just double side tape, and that's a bunch of blue tack up inside there. And this is just a mic stand, and what this does is just allows me to not go off camera when I'm painting miniatures. Because if I don't have this, I will never stay on screen. Never.
That's pretty smart for somebody who's tried taking videotaping.
I'll be all over the place.
I'm all over the place. That putting it on a stand and forcing it to be on the screen all the time is actually a good thing.
It's basically my control.
Always good to learn, right? Every one of us can learn
On
something.
how to rope me in.
So I think this is really was really learning experience for that.
I'm gonna feather that. A filter and a glaze are to me, those are the exact same things, just different ways to say them. You just filter with a glaze. I think a lot of words become sort of misused or almost just you kind of use the same words for the same thing sometimes, but a filter and glaze, that's the same thing. So that was, I did a little gray over top of our metal. So one thing I like to talk about is the metalosity of things. to make something look more metal, you have to remove some of that like poppy metallic effect of the metallic paints. Right? So you take some opaque paints like grays or blue grays, blacks, and you glaze or shadow or wash, however you want to approach it. There's no wrong way to go about it. And you push that metallic down, and that's going to make it feel more metallic, especially at the end after we add some highlights to it. Because the last thing you want is just pure metallic. If you look at something that is metallic, like the silver ring of this atomic mass cup, you can see how this is very metallic-y, and it goes down, and like the metallic-y goes away in the shadows, right? It becomes dull. It becomes opaque. And that's what you're trying to replicate. I need a drink. That's what you're trying to replicate with the gray paints. So I've added black to my grays. And I'm going to define all the deep shadows of the armor. Very quickly. I want that more black. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I can control wash. That's a wash, but I don't let it flow everywhere. And I use second brush to kind of put it where I want it instead of just kind of slurping everywhere. So almost done. What other questions we got? Chat. Everybody's talking about donuts. I shouldn't have said the word glaze. We don't have donuts here today. We do have cupcakes, and I saw that there was a salted caramel one still. I totally want to steal that. Oh. It's got the back.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the chat too, and so that's why I've been kind of in there. He's been talking. So, but the reality is, people are asking about the rules. When are they going to be posted on?
I like on armor pads and stuff.
We're still jumping all over the place to get rules.
To kind of have like
it'd be nice to have a central location.
Blends.
So we're trying
so
to
you purposely sort of like if you ever tried blending and you're like, oh, I'm bad at it. There's actually ways to utilize that to your advantage. Like you can create more life and variance in armor plates and stuff by purposely using bad blends. Play with it. Give it a try and see what you think. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with like painting where you're just quite, you're still learning the technique because many techniques are learned and they take time to perfect. So like sometimes it's fun to just try things out and sort of fail at them.
That's what I'd like to see as a whole unit of these guys.
But take the lesson of that fail and apply it in a way to make it succeed. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. We are working on a website. We've said it's a process. Let's highlight.
A website is a process, but not that much of a process. So we've got
Just the edge side of the brush.
Almost. Well, it's 8 and 9 months, and they haven't got
I'm gonna
anything on
catch
their
all these
website at
little
all for
glints.
Star Wars.
Now see,
Uh,
because I
just
dulled
kinda-
everything down and I come back with this
the
bright
whole-
silver,
The whole
it makes it feel
website's all
much
geared towards
more
their Marvel Price Protocol
metallic-y.
game, which would be just fine. Like that's what they had first, but it'd be nice for them to kind of get some things up in Star Wars, so you know where to go. Like I had somebody
With
the other day. I
reflection
joined
dots here and
my
there.
playing group, and they couldn't find the rules, and they're like, "Where do I find the rules?" So I had to find the rules for them and back on the FFG site, send them
Maybe
to them.
blend that one out 'cause
But
it's on his head.
there's players out there that might not have somebody who's played
Gonna
and
go
can
up and
send
over
them
at
those
the
rules.
top.
And so there is the
to get
benefit
that
that you
little
should
line on
have
the
at
helmet.
least that on your website and the rules ready and going. And so like that's my one thing is just you know
Okay,
give
silver
a
on his
little
head.
bit of respect on that end. You know.
Damp brush, clean it up. Easy peasy. Dots. Just makes it look like little metal reflexies.
So
We do like little lines too. You just have fun with the reflections and highlights. What mini is this? Koshi4822 asked, this is the Pike Syndicate unit leader to go with the Pike Syndicate units.
I would like to see the whole.
It's time to highlight the black. So I actually had this recipe written down and I totally forgot what it was. 5 minutes? I'm so close to done. You got 5 minutes to ask me all your questions. Any question I can answer. We're going to try to highlight all of his wrinkly pants in 5 minutes. His pants is so wrinkled. I think the only thing I didn't get to is his blaster? I think that's the only thing I didn't get to. I tried my best. I almost got it.
They answered the
now.
unit. They are a core unit, so that's good to know. People asked, and so this is a core unit.
There's cupcakes. My favorite type of donut is a free one. I just made Kevin laugh a little too hard. It's true though. It's like my granddad used to say, you can call me
that's
anything you want, just don't call me
There's
late for
going
dinner.
to be a lot of answers in the next 2 days, but reality is we're not going to see these for about 6 months. So it's like all this hype. We're like, I want them, I want them, I want them. But
Just
we
little
could have caught ourselves.
Dings and
I
dots
ordered
to do
the
the
order 4
highlighting on
months
the
ago. I
black.
still don't have them. So think about it. It's going to be a while yet.
Just catch
So,
the edging.
you know, we'll get ready.
Doesn't have to be precise.
When we get it,
We're
don't
paying
have to be
for the game.
precise because they're only stormtroopers are that precise.
All weekend long, there's all kinds of info coming. Tomorrow, you'll probably see the Pike Syndicate being played in a game. That's what I was told. I mean, that may be why I'm painting them right now.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool little.
Join in and check out all the fun information, news.
Just 3 more minutes, yeah.
Darker color, lighter color, what is the best way to clean that up? So, the best way to clean it up, I'm getting told I'm going to be cut off real shortly. Best way to clean up paint that you got on another element that you shouldn't get on is use a second brush very quickly to wipe it away with some dampness on that brush. That's the best way to do it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much trouble would you be in if we could see your hobby desk right now? Probably a 20. Probably a 20. Chick always says, my desk is where all the fun stuff lives. It is 100% true. My desk is where all the fun stuff is. Alright, we got 1 minute. I'm closing out. I'm just going to start painting this blaster, and I'm going to be done with this Pike Syndicate unit leader. In 1 hour, we're going to take some gray, rainy gray. I'm just going to go to the black. I'm just going to keep painting until they cut me off for the next stream. What's the next stream? I don't remember. I don't have it in front of me. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get painted.
Sorry about that.
Primary colors.
I had to get up.
What is it?
My house cleaner.
Primary colors.
Primary
Miss
colors.
Marvel.
Oh, yeah, we got primary colors coming up with one, Mr. William Schick. He'll be painting and talking about stuff. You know, he's more in the development side, so he'll answer some more developy type questions. I'm adding white to the rainy gray and highlighting the blaster. We got seconds left. Guess what? Done! Wow! Kick it over to that camera. I'm going to say goodbye. We did it. We painted our unit leader in 1 hour. By the skin of my teeth. Roll it out. We'll see you on the next stream, guys.
Yeah, he did a good job on that.
Woo, that was close.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. They're going to log off here and just say, but that was cool. I'm really excited to see these pikes and other things going in. At the beginning of the video, there is the trailer, and there's a whole lot of exciting stuff in there. So you can watch the beginning again. It was, I'm going to probably go back and watch it a couple times. I know that there's going to be other places to see that, but the reality is that this is kind of exciting way they're going, and I think this is good. This is good for Legion, and good for Atomic Mass if they can start putting their fingerprint on it. And I know this is still FFG stuff, but this is be exciting to see where they're going to take it. And so, with that all being said, thank you guys. May the force be with you, and just have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And look forward to the rest of the MINISTRAVAGANZA and what Legion has to come, because I don't think Legion's done. I think it's going to be big and better. Hopefully the rules will come along with it, though, and that's my biggest fear, is that the rules won't come along with it. But other than that, I'm excited to see what they have to offer, and so thank you guys for coming. Have a wonderful night.